Sure.
So just to give you a quick context, I don't know if we've covered this over the call, but the reason I'm doing this is because I believe that different business owners, different entrepreneurs, different founders, when they run an agency, they don't have other people on looking in from the outside. They don't have really any visibility on how to run an agency, right? So a lot of people I've
Right.
spoken to, a lot of people in my network have jumped in blindly to do that, and I feel
Right.
like there's a huge gap when you talk about learnings and understandings online, because there are very few people speaking about running an agency, right? So which is why I'm connecting with a lot of founders, a lot of business owners, a lot of agency runners, to understand their
Right.
perspective and their challenges and how they solved for it, and essentially how they moved into running a successful design or a creative agency. And the other leg
Right.
to that is then connecting with different creative professionals across not just the creative industry, but across other industries as well, other professions as well, to
Right.
understand their, because I connect with creative leaders to understand their lens of how they use creative problem solving within their profession or within their industry. So that is the second leg of it. So that is essentially what Altered is.
Okay. Okay. Nice to know. Yeah.
Yeah, so I came across your profile and I've actually looked at a lot of work that Everything Design has done, a lot of new age modern websites that you guys have done, and I also recently came about Everything Films. So, which is where you came in mind, and I thought it would be a great conversation to kind of bring you on board and get to know what your journey has been like.
Sure. Sure. Yeah. I mean, I'm happy to talk about it. Yeah.
Awesome. So we can jump into it. If I would like to start with understanding how you started out with being a designer, what your journey, what your starting point was. Did you actually go through a formal education, or were you self-taught? I know that you've been in design for more than a decade. When you
Right.
look back at where it all started, does it feel like a long time, or does it feel like it went by really fast?
Okay. So, I mean, it's been a long period actually. It's not even a decade. It's like 15 plus years now that I've been practicing design. I started out pretty early I started doing design work before my college time, even after my 12th grade.
Yeah,
And at that point in time, I did not know that it was called design, but it was fundamentally what I was doing was design. But I just didn't know that there was a term called design or a profession called design, right?
yeah,
Um, so after my 12th grade, I applied to engineering and medical school, like everybody does. At least 15 years back, that's what people used to do.
okay,
The go-to profession was either engineering or medical, and my parents were both from medical school, so hence the natural leaning was towards that.
yeah,
And there was somewhere along the line, some of my friends actually poked me or coaxed me into applying for design school.
okay,
They just mentioned it, saying that, hey, why don't you apply for this institute? It seems like something you would enjoy. So your
right,
core group of people around you normally know, what you lean towards, and sometimes even you don't know it.
yeah,
So uh, that's how I got into design. And then Srishti was like a great experience. I was, lucky enough to be one of the first batches of Srishti as it was getting set up. So had the opportunity to work with the founder of
right,
Srishti and, get a lot of mentorship from there. So it was very formative for me in the sense, like, it kind of laid down my principles in design. Now, of course, she doesn't teach design anymore, but we were lucky enough to get that learning right from her. So yeah, so that's how it started out, and then moving into different
yeah,
agencies. So the typical thing is to get out of design and then to move into, getting a job as soon as you're out of design school. And since I didn't have too much family in Bangalore, I somehow had to kind of find a way to at least survive and exist in Bangalore. So, applied to different agencies and started working right at the outset, the moment I was out of the institute.
right,
And so then I've gone through ups and downs of working through retail, hospitality, education, you name it. Like, I've jumped from industry to industry and done design work there, and ultimately landed onto the B2B after going full circle into all kinds of industries. So yeah, so that's the journey in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Um, so I mean, I think there are things that have changed as I've
Of
gone
course.
along,
Yeah.
and there are things that have remained consistent as well. So
Right.
like the whole attitude of being very curious about everything that comes across, like any new project that signs up or any new
Yeah.
industry that I'm getting into, the curiosity is still there. I
Right.
mean, after the 15 plus years, every new project is a new opportunity, a new thing to learn about. So that's something that hasn't changed.
Yeah.
What has changed is that I was always like an individual contributor to projects, running projects, but always a designer first, and
Of course.
then the manager. And that has completely shifted in everything design.
So now
So
you
I would
practice
say,
more of management and operations versus design.
yeah, that's it's a lot of managing expectations, managing clients, managing designers in terms of how to make space for them to actually do their best work,
Yeah.
and and playing that part of holding back on design and
Yeah.
not executing design, although you're dying to do it. So yeah, so
That's
those.
actually a hard pill to swallow because even I run an agency. So I honestly thought that a huge chunk of my job would be to design and be hands-on with projects. But the more we went in and the more the agency started growing, I realized that I'm going to be stuck in operations for a very long time. So I
Right,
feel
yeah.
like, yeah, that's the sad part about running an agency, unfortunately. But
Yeah.
you mentioned that you studied at Srishti when design education was still not at its peak, right? Like if you see even today, design is still upcoming in India. It's still not grown to its full potential. I'm sure like when you were part of Srishti and you mentioned that you were part of the first batch of Srishti, uh, when design education wasn't taken that seriously or wasn't acknowledged as a full-fledged industry, what made you commit to design, and didn't you feel it was a risky move on your part, especially like with your family background in medicine?
Yeah, so one is that I was kind of, even during my teenage years, was an outlier in some form or the other. So always did things that other people may not do.
Yeah.
So the natural leaning was when I went to the institute for an interview after I had given my exam and gotten through the first round. They normally do an interview.
Yeah.
And the moment I went to the institute, I knew that I wanted to be there because the entire vibe, the entire culture of the institute kind of stood, spoke to me very, very closely.
Right.
So, and honestly, I didn't even think of what I would do after I finished my course. Like,
Hmm.
would I have it or not? I just jumped right into it, deep dive into it, and I said I'll figure it out as I go along.
Yeah.
I'm sure I can get a job somewhere or the other. I will find a job somewhere or the other. So one thing that helped me was in my 12th grade when I got out, I had done internship in an architecture studio.
Okay.
And that gave me an insight into, okay, there are other fields out there which may not be spoken about, but are equally good, kind of very creative, very exciting work to do, but nobody's talking about it. So
Yeah.
that really helped me. So that last period of my 12th grade where I was waiting for my results and interning at this architecture studio also was a big decision maker for me. And of course, the founder was very, very kind to, tell me that there are possibilities outside of what my parents really wanted me to do.
Right.
And I think that early mentorship, is like super important. And if somebody nudges you in the right direction, then you'll figure a way out to do it. So I
Did
think
you
that helped.
Sorry, I had another question in between that. Did you always have an inclination towards art, or were you pushed into that by your friends and then you naturally figured it out along the way?
Yeah, so that's also a funny story. So around the time that I was finishing my 12th grade, computers were becoming a thing. It was not, everybody didn't have a desktop at that point in time.
Right.
So it was a thing that you went to a computer center
Yeah.
and you sort of learned, um, skills on it, and some skills were coding related and some skills were multimedia related.
Yeah.
And I did a lot of, in my 12th grade, did a lot of upskilling on these multimedia courses.
Yeah.
And then I realized that I have this ability to, create things.
Yeah.
It was not because I was not really that great at sketching ever, but I realized that there's room out there for people who may not be able to translate everything into a sketch, but have the mindset to build things or make things. So that was something that I figured during this multimedia course. And even in that job in the Architecture Institute, because computers were not a big thing at that point in time, I was the only one who was super skilled, even as an intern to run a computer, to run a machine. So I started getting a lot of work in that space, even though I was the youngest person out there.
Yeah.
So people were dumping all kinds of things on me, presentations on me, like some chair mock-ups on me, all of that.
Yeah.
And that's when it was kind of clear to me that this is the kind of work I want to do.
Okay.
It's very experimental. It's you have to think. You can't just do something. The logic behind it is very clear. You need to be able to talk about your idea. So those things were very exciting for me. As opposed to drowning myself in like tons and tons of medical book. I could see my mother actually used to study a lot. So I could see that that's not something that I would do effectively.
Right.
So it was a very subconscious decision, I would say. And my friends were, of course, party to helping me make that decision as well.
Got it.
Yeah. So.
And so you spent a few years, so you mentioned that you, after architecture, then you spent a few years working at other design studios. And then eventually, then you moved into going independent, right? Working for your own self, working as a freelancer or consultant, whatever you may call it. But what I feel like is most designers tend to, or not just designers, but most professionals tend to get a little comfortable when they do a job, right? Versus working for for themselves. What is that one thing that made you finally decide that you need to move out of like your comfort zone and build something of your own?
Right. By the way, my job was super cushy. Like it was it was the best deal anyone can get. Because I was playing at a principal designer role. I had a good team with me. And the pay was good, which was rare. So all of the tick marks that you typically have in a, as a designer you want were all there. I mean, very much there. And it was so comfortable that I was like, is this it? Like the question mark there was, is this like the threshold of it? Because it's so comfortable. I don't feel pressured at any given point in time. And I don't feel the need to, my team is good. So, I mean, I am able to execute everything. But the question mark in my head was, is that going to be the topmost point of my career? Or is there something else out there which, which is even bigger? I think I was uncomfortable about the amount of comfort I had at that point in time. Like, and that was what made me kind of very restless. So I didn't really quit my job. I actually took a sabbatical.
Okay.
And I told my entire team that I would like a sabbatical because I need some time.
Right.
And because I had such a long stint in that company, I was almost there for 10 years, no, I think 7 to 8 years. And that stint was so long that they were willing to give me that 2 month sabbatical to figure my out. And I had been consistent across those years as well. So I had worked really hard in the company to rise up at different stages.
Yeah.
So then at that given point in time, during my sabbatical is when I got my first freelance project again. And I took it up because I was chilling and I thought, okay, some extra money will help.
Yeah.
And just took that up and started working on it. And then I realized that there are more nuances to this, like when to ask for the money, when, how should you cost something? Those are things like which were Greek and Latin. Like, I mean, they were like, never thought of it before.
Yeah.
how do I put a price point to the time I'm spending?
Yeah.
How do I cap on, how much time I'm going to spend on this because they're paying me a certain amount? So those were new questions that came up during the course of, doing this freelance gig that I was doing.
Yeah.
And then my co-founder, who is also, he's from the management side, he had a project on hand where he needed a designer.
Yeah.
Um, so I started collaborating with him and saw a stark difference in the way I was costing things and the way he was costing things because
Yeah.
he came from a management background.
Yeah.
Um, so I was like, maybe I have not put the right price to my work.
Yeah.
Maybe I am valuing, but I'm not able to demand that value. So how do you ensure that you're able to demand that value?
Right.
Then I started feeling like this is something that I could do to actually learn how to go beyond being a designer to be able to sell my work effectively,
Mm-hmm.
be able to command a price that makes sense for me. So, those questions is what led to starting in a small way.
Got it.
I was so yeah. So I think it was a big revelation. Is like, okay, there's a lot more on the other side of the business,
Yeah.
which I had a view of early.
And
So
and at that time also, like, because right now there's a whole conversation about being a specialist versus a generalist. At that time,
right.
was there anything like that, or was it that okay, you got any project that you could do and you just did it, and then from there you kind of figured out what your specializations were, what your niche was, and then moved into that.
So at that point in time, because it was all survival of, surviving and paying
Yeah.
bills and um, also like the money was an important factor. So it was in the first 6 months, I would say we did everything, like
Right.
anything that. So by the way, we even did film at that point in time.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I directed a film, hired a photographer, did it, even though it was not the main forte.
Okay.
So I come up from visual design background, so my main
Mm-hmm.
forte had always been visual design.
Right.
Uh, if we got a film project, why not?
Yeah.
Because we make something out of it. So dabbled in a lot of things at that given point in time, and one of our early projects was a B2B project, which was for a company who was doing COVID claims. It was also
Okay.
COVID period at the time.
Okay.
So it was a company who was actually helping insurers do the COVID claims.
Yeah.
Um, that's when the first sense of B2B happened. Like,
Okay.
like there is business to business. It's very interesting. And there are some really good people working on stuff which we never see the light of day in our day-to-day lives.
Yeah.
So that's when we got the first hint of it. Was the first branding project that we did because they were looking to roll out a very quick brand. It was
Yeah.
very low cost.
Yeah.
It was a bootstrapped company, so they paid us like a minimal amount for it, what they could afford. But yeah, I think in the beginning we did everything possible, like
Mm-hmm.
anything came our way, like you name it, because it was like we have to pay bills and we have to
Yeah.
survive, we have to buy a computer system, we need software, so
Yeah. So
so it was
many creative studios kind of get stuck in that rut of being an everything agency, right? Like they don't for a very long time. I'm trying to get a little advice out here, but I'm also kind of stuck in that rut right now, where it
right.
becomes hard after a point because you're working with so many clients, you're doing so many things. It's impossible to kind of break away from that and then say, okay, now from the 7 services that we offer, we are going to filter down to only 2. When did that happen for you?
So the first 1.5 year was a survival game.
Yeah.
It was basically like you sort of take up any project that comes your way and then you execute it to your best capacity as long as the client is on board with this idea and then to be able to showcase it.
Yeah.
Uh, Luckily, during that course of time, there were one or two B2B projects that we got, which we were also not sure of how that will pan out, but they panned out well.
Okay.
And the clientele seemed to know what they wanted and
Mhm.
were aligned with our way of working, like everything design's way of working. So that alignment happened pretty early in the first 1.5 year. And after that, it became a conscious decision. Okay, we are going to niche down to B2B,
Okay.
because that's the kind of clientele that aligns with our style of working. They're more, one is they are more structured in their approach. So in D2C, there were a lot of unstructured
Hmm.
sort of asks that we would get,
Hmm.
and that structuredness was not working. I mean, it was one is you don't know what the payouts are going to be regularly, and then the other part of it is also the ad hocness of the delivery.
Yeah.
Also, the designer under a lot of stress. Like, I mean, young
Of
designers who are
course.
working with us
Yeah.
puts some stress on those people as well. While the B2B clientele is very structured, they want few things,
Yeah.
and they want. I mean, they will work with the pace you tell them. They might want it like slightly speedily, but the request or the changes will not
Very
happen in
structured.
an ad.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a little bit more structured.
Yeah.
So that seemed to work for me and the early hires that we had as well.
Hmm.
And the planning of projects could be done better. And you could manage the quality of the output,
Hmm.
which was very key to us. Like, I
Hmm.
mean, we wanted good quality output from
Yeah.
day one.
Yeah.
So all of those things aligned, and hence we decided to niche down to B2B. It was
Okay.
like the mindsets match. The delivery methodology matches.
Okay.
Quality. I mean, quality is something that we've always strived for. So
Hmm.
quality, we will ensure that if the delivery matches, if the timelines match, if the payouts match, then quality we can strive for.
Of
So,
course.
so hence, after a period of time, it became like a very constructed decision. We started calling it out in our communication as
Hmm.
well. After the second year, I think, end of second year, we started calling it out in our communication as well. That we are working with B2B businesses. We help
Okay.
them with funding. Yeah.
And
Um,
how old has everything design been?
it's 5.5 years. I mean, it's
Five and a
5+ years.
So I
Yeah.
have like a before and after question. So what did the early days kind of look like when you guys had just started out? And I think somewhere you mentioned it started out in a tiny room with very few people. So how did the early days kind of look like, and what the do you have planned for everything design for the next after the next 5 years?
Right. So the early days again, the since the growth was organic, the
Yeah.
hires were organic as well.
Okay.
It was person to person, getting whatever work comes our way, reaching out to old clients who I've worked with in the past as well, and asking them if they want our services and stuff like that.
Hmm.
So that led to a very sort of organic hire as well. So when the work picked up quite a bit, we hired our first designer.
Okay.
And we also hired a developer to be able to do the back end work. So we wanted to control the output.
Right.
Didn't want to sort of give it to an external party to deliver like a website,
Yeah.
because you don't know what's going to happen there, and
Yeah.
all is unpredictable.
Yeah.
And since clients want predictability, how do we manage that predictability as well?
Right.
So that was also a conscious decision, and then after that, the next designer came on board when we signed up this large client who we worked with for a good 2 years.
Hmm.
Every month we had some work with them. Um, Fortunately or unfortunately, they were also slightly ad hoc from a B2B standpoint.
Okay.
Uh, so they had quick deliveries.
Hmm.
We worked over to deliver them. But then slowly we started planning the next moves. As in, like, I mean, is this the kind of work that we want to do
Yeah.
for the rest of it, or is there better quality work out there? And
Right.
with every project, we try to up the game.
Okay.
So if one project we explored something, in the next project we would try to up the quality of the output,
Right.
so that we started getting more and more visibility. And then we got a new client from Hyderabad who was really kind enough to give a lot of projects to us
Yeah.
at a very early stage, took a bet on us basically,
Hmm.
because their company was fairly large
Okay.
and we were very small team. But the founder was of the opinion that it's ultimately a people business. So if I align with the people, then I will give them work.
Yeah.
And he's often mentioned to us that if you work with me once, you would work with me for life.
Yeah.
So I mean, it was very lucky to find somebody who would, put that bet on you.
Yeah,
And then did a couple of projects with him because he would give us the creative freedom, which became a good benchmark to execute as well.
of course. Yeah.
And then later showcase to get new projects.
Hmm.
Even now, I would say the growth methodology has been organic. Uh, it's a lot of like we are getting projects, we are getting
Yeah.
inquiries, so let's expand the team.
Yeah.
It's not very constructive. It's
Hmm.
naturally gone from one thing to another thing. So even film, if you see today,
Yeah.
first from an internal requirement, like we wanted good testimonials from our clients.
Right.
After finishing a project, how do we ensure that the process also becomes visible to the world?
Hmm.
And the best way to do that is to actually ask a client what they felt about the whole experience of it.
Yeah.
We started documenting testimonials of our clients,
Hmm.
and we learned a lot. Like there are clients who've even trashed us in the testimonial and even told us what we could have done better.
Yeah.
But it's all part of the learning curve.
Of course.
And we also figured some of our strengths from those conversations, which may not have been visible to us.
Right.
So the testimonial piece worked out very well for us. Like it kind of taught us things that we could do better.
Yeah.
It showed us gaps and things. It also told us what our strengths are and what we should be banking on.
Yeah.
Stuff. So the film team became like there was one girl who moved from management into film, and then luckily somebody recommended a film head to us at the same time, and we kind of clubbed them together and we started making these short testimonial stuff for ourselves. It also highly depends on the people you hire, right? Like so our film head, he's got a vision of what he wants to do.
Yeah.
And if you want to build something, you need people who have a certain kind of vision. Like you can't have somebody who's okay with everything. And they want to deliver a certain quality.
Yeah.
So then you see potential in that person, and then you decide, okay, there is potential here, and this is something that feeds directly into our core work as well.
Yeah.
Why not build that? So again, it's an organic sort of build. It's
Yeah.
not like, okay, I decided today to do digital marketing and I start looking for a head. It was organically, it happened so. So a lot of people have told us, why don't you do digital marketing? It's a natural
Yeah.
byproduct of the brand building part of it. But it's not something that's happened organically.
Right.
It's something that we see a strength in right now.
Of course.
Maybe in the team, if we saw some strength, or if we collaborated with somebody tomorrow, it could be something that we could look at, but we're not trying to force fit it in any way.
Got it.
So the growth is not the force fit kind of growth at all. It's what you see potential in within your team,
Yeah.
and sort of build it further, then kind of multiply it in
So
that sense.
when you look at clients, when you're growing up the ladder, you will obviously face a lot of different clients, right? So when you're looking at clients driving a lot of revenue, so are your decisions to take on the kind of projects or work with clients based on the kind of revenue that you're getting from them, or is it the kind of culture they bring to the table? Or the culture needs to align with your vision, your culture, or is it that, okay, these guys are bringing in a lot of revenue, so let's work with them?
So see, revenue is important.
Yeah.
It's bread and butter. Like but cultural alignment is equally important because now lately, for the last 6 months, I can say that we've said a lot of no's as well. Because if there's no cultural alignment, then at some point in the
It breaks.
project, it will fall out, and revenue will get affected.
Yeah.
So you might as well find that cultural alignment right in the beginning, and work with that. So there is one theory that I have, which is the fact that if the client thinks that you're not an expert, right, and they just want to use you as an execution partner.
Yeah.
In the early days, we used to call that vendors.
Yeah.
Vendor for it.
They're still called vendors. Yeah.
Yeah, I think people have become a little bit more aware now.
Yeah.
But it's still in some places you do encounter it.
Yeah.
The moment they look at you like that, right, the value you're adding from a design standpoint
Yeah.
is going to, it's not going to happen. So you are demeaning your own work,
Yeah.
and you're putting yourself down a couple of steps, underplaying what you can actually deliver.
Right.
There's no point I see in doing that kind of work,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it's like I'm an expert, you are an expert at what you do. I'm an expert at what I do.
Yeah.
And let's collaborate to build something bigger. That's, I mean, that's in principle the kind of clients that we want to work with, going
Of
further
course.
and further.
Yeah.
And I think some stars are aligning. Like these are the clients who are also approaching us now.
Okay.
There are clients who believe that, you know, we bring a certain value to the table, and you know, they will listen to some recommendations which they may not be comfortable in the beginning with,
Right.
and then they will see how, you know, the byproduct of it they will start seeing in their own business as well,
Yeah.
and you know, hence the whole relationship becomes better as well. So it's all about the relationship as well.
Yeah.
And also this puts pressure on us. I mean, we have decided very consciously to take on that pressure.
Hmm.
This puts us in a place where if we recommend something, it
Yeah.
needs to work for the, like tomorrow. I mean, what good are we if it doesn't work out for their business,
Yeah.
right? So in that sense, we also, the team's mindset and my mindset and the rest of the team mindset, it also is very deep dive into trying to understand, will this solve for the client?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the kind of designer you want to be.
Yeah.
You want to be the designer who solves something for the client,
Yeah.
helps them move ahead, and not be the person who just executes what the
Yeah. Just
client is
blindly
asking you.
does. Yeah. No, of course. I
So
think.
no,
Yeah.
the people pleasing part of things.
Yeah.
Show them the real picture, and, you know, kind of ask some hard questions if required.
Right.
So that's the approach we've been taking, and I think it's working out better for us,
Okay. And
all in all.
when you talk about your co-founder in this whole in this journey that you're on, uh, most creative studios intentionally build solo, right? They don't want someone else to partner up with. What made you want to build with a co-founder, and what does that dynamic actually look like on a day-to-day?
So yeah, so this is a very tricky question. Yeah.
Was your
So
relationship as you mentioned that he came from management and you already had a working relationship with him. Uh, did that ever feel like, okay, it's just a natural progression into starting something together? Or did you ever have differences and then solved to that and then said, okay, you know what, this feels like more of a friendship where I'm working with a friend and I would love to kind of build this forward with him?
so yeah, so one is, I mean, my need to partner with somebody came from the fact that nobody teaches you in design school about the business of design. They teach you about design, and
Yeah,
they teach you about problem solving, and they teach you
yeah,
about a lot of other things. But nobody gives you that real picture on what is the business of design.
of course.
And when I did start working with him, I sort of saw a lot of differences in the way I would approach something and he would approach it.
Yeah,
Um, and I mean, those differences still remain. Like, I mean, we still operate very differently, like
yeah,
in terms of
yeah.
um, like the way we approach things, and some amount of that conflict has been good for us. Like
Okay.
it's actually, there is tension and there is conflict. I mean,
Yeah.
um, that's because we are kind of two equally passionate people about the business. So I'm extremely passionate about the quality of the output, and
Yeah.
extremely passionate about what I'm saying to a client and why I'm saying it. And
Yeah.
he's very passionate about how the client is looking at us, and, you know, sort of maintaining that expert to expert talk.
Yeah.
So I think it's very far apart approaches, but at the same time have worked in the benefit of building the company and worked in the
Mhm.
benefit of clients and projects as well. So it's like what I would bring to the table would be completely different from what he's bringing to the table. and yet it seems to work together
Yeah.
in delivering a sort of like an output for a client that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of our clients also like the fact that there are two very different opinions on the same thing, and how those things get kind of merged together to form the output.
Yeah.
So at a strategies level, at when we're cracking an idea for a client, or when we are interacting in terms of workshops and sort of trying to deep dive and trying to get alignment from the client, that's when this plays out very effectively.
Hmm.
Because because there may be times when I would suggest something completely far out from what was expected from a business standpoint,
Yeah.
and and that might be something that's uncomfortable in the beginning. But when you actually start putting the whole theory or the concept together, then the whole thing pans out into doing something very, very different, which the market has not seen before.
Right.
So I think differences is what makes something a little bit more effective, actually.
Yeah.
Because if everything was a yes, I agree with you, you agree with me,
Yeah.
like then where
There
is
would be no
the,
innovation. Yeah.
I would even call it the meat in the whole thing. Like it's like where is the passion or the meat in the whole thing?
Of
So
course. Yeah.
so I, that that dynamic has helped us. Like
Okay.
and again, this is not something that we knew. It's
Yeah.
something that clients pointed out, actually.
Okay.
So people who worked with us have pointed that out. Maybe people feel a little bit hesitant to just sign up with a designer, right? Because
Hmm.
they don't know whether the designer will fully understand the business context.
Hmm.
Considering the fact that he comes from an engineering background and an
Got it.
MBA background, from a design school background.
Yeah.
On the other hand, sometimes clients want something different,
Yeah.
and they don't. If an engineering mindset or a very constructed mindset would think of something different.
Hmm.
So I think balancing those two ends, we're able to meet even a client's requirement, and I think that's an edge.
Of
Because
course.
a lot of studios are about, I mean, like you said, a lot of design studios are about the people who, the head designer or the principal
Yeah.
designer.
Yeah.
Our studio is not at all like that. It's
Okay.
all about the client, the problem solving, the team who's working on it.
Yeah.
Um, it's a lot of collaborative work. If you have to pin down a project to one person who actually was responsible for the project,
Yeah.
nobody can put down a single person. It's
Hmm.
not possible without the dynamism of the team.
Got it.
So, so it's like people say that the sum is larger
Yeah. No, of course.
than the, right. So that I think is unique. I mean, that's unique, and I absolutely love it. I mean, so even in terms of our hiring methodology, when we
Yeah.
bring people to the table, they bring something new.
Yeah.
They bring in a skill that we may not have,
Yeah.
and I think that's what makes it unique. So I think in terms of partnership, although we've had to work through a lot of differences and a lot of different styles of operating, and
Yeah.
different ways in which we think, somehow it's worked in the benefit of the team and the client.
Hmm.
So I think that's I think either the designer needs, I mean, it's very hard for a designer to have a complete business outset,
Yeah.
and it's very hard for a business person to think like a designer.
But I think
And
with all these new studios coming up, a lot of designers have now moved into the business of design, as you call it. Uh,
yeah,
though there is still a gap, which is why I essentially started out this podcast, because I also see that gap. But then there are a lot of designers that I see in today's time uh, who have understood the business of design really well. Like was speaking to Anant Ahuja I think last week,
I
and he
yeah,
has entrepreneurial mindset that he just adapted so well, and he understands the business of design so fantastically well that it just works in his favor, right? So, and I see that
right,
to be true for a lot of people who've started their own studios.
right.
And
So
yeah, sorry, you
so
were
in
saying?
our Yeah, so in our team as well, right? Like there's so typically in a studio in my previous life, I've seen that most designers don't do the client management.
Hmm.
So the client manager and then there's a designer, right?
Hmm.
And the designer is supposed to think of these crazy maverick things, and the client manager is supposed to manage client
Hmm.
expectations.
Hmm.
In my, however, even like a mid-weight designer, forget about the leads because leads do a lot of client management as well. But even a mid-weight designer has complete access to client thoughts.
Okay.
Sometimes they even do some amount of client management,
Hmm.
like talking back to the client, explaining their thoughts to it, why it works for their business.
Yeah.
So a lot of stress is on, not just about doing the work, it's also about communicating about your work.
Right.
So each midway designer is also capable of communicating why their work is done in a certain way.
Yeah.
And hence they're forced to sort of really understand the business side of things because
Yeah.
tomorrow they need to explain it.
Yeah.
So that's as a methodology has worked for us.
Right.
So we're trying to ingrain a lot of the business understanding into each one of our designers, and
Hmm.
this goes down to the last mile of designers, the junior most designer.
Yeah.
Sometimes even in we insist that interns explain their
Yeah.
design in a way that the client will understand.
Okay.
So I mean, it's a matter of incorporating it into your methodology. So
And
that is more and more what we've tried to do.
I feel like you spoke really well about how one business needs to build a winning team if they need to win, or if they need to grow, right? Talking about winning team, if I ask you about your first hire, because everyone's first hire is like very close to their heart, right? So how did that go about for you? Who was your first hire, and what weight did he or she bring to the table? Because they come with some amount of weight to learn to grow to align with your vision, and how did that change how you show up as a founder?
Right. So my first hire was somebody who I had watched in an internship in my previous organization.
Okay.
So she was working as an intern, and then she never came back to the organization and
Okay.
went and joined others.
This was your
And
organization or some other organization?
no, so my previous company
Okay.
where I used to, uh, there was an intern. So there were lots of interns. There were six,
Hmm.
seven interns I had hired during my time there.
Yeah.
And out of all of the six, seven interns, there was one person who stood out to me. Um, I mean, so I was watching closely what was because I was also a principal designer at that point
Yeah.
of time. Watching closely as to what was happening, and she was the first hire in that entire.
Okay.
I mean, in not first hire, sorry, she was part of this entire internship program that was happening in the previous organization,
Yeah.
and she happened to be one person who stood out. And as a personality type, she was an introvert, did not say a word, but somehow every time the work was to be showcased, her work also stood out. Like
Yeah.
amongst all the people's work, you
Yeah.
could see a deeper thing, a deeper way of working. As somebody who I would have liked to work with, but she
Yeah.
never came back to the organization that I was with. She went and joined some other place.
Okay.
And yeah, and somehow we kept in touch, and like just hey, hi, hello, how are you?
Yeah.
But I felt the need to hire. Out of all the people that I had worked with in my previous history, this was the first person I could think of, because also um, somebody who was still young, so
Yeah.
mold them, and you can
Yeah.
kind of define who they are,
Yeah.
and yeah, she just joined us, and she also took a bet on us because it's not easy to join a
Yeah.
company which is 6 month old something, and
Yeah.
you don't have a proper place to sit. You just have a basic computer, and
Is
you
she
have to
still
kind of.
with you?
So right now she's on a sabbatical, but yeah, this is like last month. But
Okay.
she worked. I mean, she worked with us for the last 5 years. So
Yeah.
right now she's taking a break.
I
I'm
think
hoping
she's
that
going
she.
down the same career path as you.
So we don't know. I really wish her all the best.
Yeah.
So yeah, so she was the first person to join us, and we and was kind of integral in the very first beginning years, because there was no way that we could have managed the work that was coming at us at that point in time. Like,
Mm.
it's not humanly possible for one or two people to deliver it. I mean,
Mm.
we needed like a team. So a lot of load went off from me to her.
Yeah.
And in terms of the relationship, right, like, it was very, oh, and there was another person who joined us at that point in time who had worked with me for the last 12 years in every company that I had worked in.
Okay.
So he kind of, every company that I used to shift from,
Yeah.
he kind of always stuck with me. So
Got it.
he's the other person I had. So there were two people, both
Okay.
two of them I had, and around the same time, because the work was that much. And he's somebody who already understood my work methodology. I mean, it was so
Yeah.
easy for me to sort of work with him. And then she was like the creative maverick who knew how to
Mm.
come up with ideas, could come up with something original. So
Yeah.
as a team, they worked very well together as
Okay.
well. So yeah, so for a bit they worked together, and then my memory is failing me. The relationship, a little bit about the relationship that we had. So whenever I've hired somebody or worked with somebody, I've never seen them as people who are employees or people who you hire, but more like collaborators, people who have a certain value in them,
Yeah.
and they collaborate with you to build something bigger. So that in principle has been the methodology, because like these are people who I believe are very talented, like
Yeah.
they're extremely out there, talented.
Yeah.
But what we can do together as a team,
Yeah.
as opposed to what we could do individually, there's no match. Like as a team, we are much more powerful together than we are originally. So
Yeah.
whole philosophy is that each person hired is a collaborator in
Yeah.
some form or the other. They have a certain set of skill. That's why they're there.
Yeah.
And they are aligned to the vision, which is working with the B2B
Yeah.
companies to build their right to win, and they and we are working towards this together. So, so I mean, it didn't strike me very early, but nowadays when I'm watching a lot of Steve Jobs interviews and how he built teams, and looking at inspiration from what he did. I mean, there's one example that he's given in his methodology, which now becomes very clear to me. It was not so clear to me like in the last
Okay.
3 years. Which is that he says something about Beatles being like, together Beatles were a powerhouse.
Yeah.
Like they built the kind of that would change the world. Individually, each person was talented also.
Yeah.
Like, look at all the four of the Beatles.
Yeah.
Individually, they were talented, but together they were like a powerhouse. So
Right.
the idea is to find people who are individually talented, and yet when they come together, I mean, it becomes 100x.
So
So now,
I have a question about building the larger team, right? So as you mentioned, your first and the second hire was fairly out of the journey that you had gone through. But when I talk about building the larger team, because obviously, like as you mentioned, like it's all about the team, right? You can only go that far by yourself. And when you talk about a winning agency, if you look at any of the agencies that are doing well, including yours, or looking at talented, or looking at irregulars or non-zero, any of these good agencies that are doing good work, it's all about the team. So when I talk about the team, what essentially do you think, uh, or do you look at when you're looking out for the right person, right? Is it just the portfolio? Because in today's world, it's the bare minimum that you have a good portfolio. So when you go beyond the portfolio, what are the key attributes that you actually hire for?
right. So, see, portfolio, of course, it helps you kind of filter things out.
Yeah.
A basic level of understanding of design of whatever field you are in, right? Film or coding or
Yeah.
uh, whatever you're applying for needs to be there, because
Yeah.
that's now the
Bare
time and
minimum.
effort time and effort that goes into upskilling somebody from scratch is just too insane.
Yeah.
So that basic fundamental portfolio is hygiene, I would say.
Yeah.
It's what you need to get a job in the first place.
Yeah.
Then comes the other things, which is the character. So in our team, like the one thing that we really, really look out for is accountability. Like, is this person going to be accountable for the task given to them?
Yeah.
Because you don't want to manage people. People have to self-manage to a
Yeah.
certain extent. Yes, you can manage their projects, you can manage client communication, you can manage any risk, but you don't want to manage the person from a character standpoint.
Yeah.
Like, so firstly, do they really want to do this badly enough?
Yeah.
Like, do they have that hunger to do this? Do they want to learn and upskill themselves?
Yeah.
Are they going to be accountable for the task that is being given to them? That
Yeah.
is, I think, a cutoff point for us, because
Right.
you can still train a person who has the hunger, who has the drive, but is mid-level talented. Like, you can train them because they will drive themselves to do it. I mean, in my last town hall, I was telling the entire team as well that, like, one thing that's common amongst all of us, besides all the quirks that each person brings in,
Yeah.
is the fact that we're driven.
Yeah.
Driven by the work that we do, driven by, quality of output,
Yeah.
driven by making it a success and talking about it.
Yeah.
So that being driven is a quality that we have been looking out for people,
Yeah.
in people in general. And that becomes like a hiring policy or like a hiring cutoff, because if the person is not going to be accountable and if they're not driven enough, there's nothing you can do with the talent.
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah, like if they have like if they are talented and they have hang-ups about doing stuff or driving a project or
Yeah.
updating people,
It-
that's
it's-
something that you need sitting and managing all of that. So that little bit self-policing has to be there,
Yeah.
and that's something that we look out for in people.
No, of course.
And I think that's a filter for us as well.
Even I think, faced that when we hire, because through multiple hires, we've realized that attitude is actually the best the thing to look at versus a great portfolio. Because a mediocre portfolio, as you said, like your benchmark needs to still be there. Good portfolio is still a bare minimum. Beyond that, obviously, the attitude, the will to learn, the driven mindset that you spoke about is what actually matters.
Right.
Right. So I'm going to give you a small problem, and I'll try to drive insights from it, because I'm sure since you worked in this industry, you have uh, great thoughts on how design has been. So I personally feel like design has been fairly underpriced when you talk about comparing it to its global counterparts, right? When you talk about global studios, global agencies, I feel design in India is fairly underpriced. So why do you think that is happening, and how do you kind of solve for that?
So I think as an industry, it sucks. People are willing to underprice to sign up a project.
Yeah.
People don't invest in their talent.
Yeah.
Like, you want to hire talented people, you better pay them. Like,
Yeah.
So I mean, beyond a point, even they know what their worth is. So I think it's an industry problem, needs to be solved at an industry level.
Yeah.
Because the moment somebody else is willing to underquote for something, that comparative analysis always comes into play.
Of
If you sign up, I mean, if you send a proposal which is 3x of what generally people are sending, people will wonder, are you trying to cheat them? Are you why are you charging way above the rest?
Yeah.
And then so one of the things that, I mean, we've been trying to do effectively, but it cannot be something that's done solo as well, is to educate the client, like what it actually takes. So, like, what does it take to actually do branding? What does it take to work with a stellar team? So, like, a lot of the educating the client on what the process is and what it entails and how does it impact their business and what does it mean in the long run.
Yeah.
Right? That's something that at a client level one has to try and communicate and understand. So we've done our best, like in terms of we put out a lot of video work as well
Yeah.
in terms of explaining our process, what went behind a project, why is it
Yeah.
successful, uh, why does it take, like, for example, there are people who want things in 4 weeks, right? Like, and
Yeah.
or in 2 weeks, for example, and how what does the process entail which will not allow for that 4 week or a 2 week
Right.
sprint, right? And then there is a room or place for 2 weeks something for in a different context.
Yeah.
So that, sort of explaining, firstly educating the client in terms of what it actually entails to do good branding, and that you can really do with showcasing stuff. Like you have to show the proof of the pudding before you start to make a case for
Yeah.
it. After we finish a project, we're trying to educate the client that this is what it took to get there, and why you feel great about it is because the work went behind it. So that's on one hand.
Yeah.
On the other hand, as an industry, we are so not collaborative, right? Like design companies are always trying to be at each other's neck to sign projects.
Yeah.
That as a philosophy doesn't work. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, it doesn't work. There's a different, there's a room or a place for everyone everywhere.
Of course. Yeah.
And yeah, so there's a certain kind of project that I can do really well as
Yeah.
everything design. There's a certain kind of project another company can do really well.
Yeah.
There's no point in trying to undercut on money to sign up that project. So
Yeah.
there are times when we have told clients that, hey, we are not the right agency for this.
Okay.
Can we tell you which is the right agency for this?
Yeah.
Then if they insist, okay, we want to work with you. So like on the outset, we've told you that we are not the right agency for this. If you want to work with us, yes,
Yeah.
but we already told you this.
Of course.
So you need to know where you stand. You don't have to do everything.
Yeah.
You need to know what is your strength, where you stand, and what is the kind of work that you want to take up. Who do you want to help in the bigger picture?
Yeah.
And I think there's enough work in the market for everyone.
Of course.
Like there is more
That's
than
the
enough.
market. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, if as an industry we worked in a very good collaborative way,
Yeah.
it would be great. Like it would be like, okay, I recommend somebody to you, you recommend somebody to me,
Yeah.
who you think would be perfect fit. All of us can survive and thrive.
Yeah.
You know,
I
That-
think
I don't.
collaboration usually doesn't stem because of pricing, because I feel like pricing is something that most agencies still haven't figured out. So
Right. Yeah.
when you're looking at collaboration, a lot of agency mindset is that, oh, I'm giving away that 30% of margins that I have maintained or we have maintained
Right.
to another agency, so my margins reduce. So I think if pricing was solved for within the larger ecosystem of working with clients, collaboration is an organic thing, right? It can definitely happen because a lot of agencies take up work or work with different clients, but then they don't have the resources to kind of deliver for that, and because they have taken up at a certain price, they can't even go to another agency to seek help because those
Right.
agencies then have their own pricing set. So
Mhm.
I feel like pricing is a big issue when you think about this ecosystem of collaboration.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, I agree with you on that because undercutting price never made anything
Yeah, yeah,
better.
yeah. And again, like pricing also stems because there's so much competition, right? Because as
Right.
you said, like agency A will do it for a 10x price, but agency B will be like, okay, I'll do it for half the cost. So then you're
Right.
undercutting your own competitors, your own peers, and then we are left with like clients complaining that we worked with freelancers and we didn't get a good result out of it.
Yeah. So clients also learn from the mistakes, right? Like
Yeah,
they used to say save like 2 lakhs or 1 lakh
yeah, yeah,
or just 2 lakhs. They would go and sign up with somebody who may not be aligned to, you know, the output that they're seeking.
yeah,
So I mean, of course, it needs to be about educating the client, but also as an industry, we need to evolve to know how to do this better.
right.
So there are enough forums for design agencies. There are
Yeah,
not enough conversations around it.
yeah,
And people like you are doing something about it. Like
yeah.
there need to be more conversations around these things.
No, of
So
course, I
that's a gap.
agree. I agree, yeah. Because a lot of designers, even today, like with colleges, like people who've gone to design colleges, still don't know how to kind of price for their work, still
Yeah,
don't know what kind of value they actually bring to the table. They need to
right.
be, and because a lot of designers or a lot of creative people in general suffer from imposter syndrome, so they don't know that they are actually worth the kind of price that they are asking for. So
Right.
yeah, I mean, definitely this a lot of conversations need to be had, a lot of education needs to be brought to the table where they need to be told, okay, this is how it need to be done.
Right. Yeah. Because design today is a mainstream profession. It's
Yeah,
not something that you did on the side. Like if you look at the biggest companies in the world, right? Like you
yeah,
look at Airbnb, Apple, you even look in the Indian market like Mokobara.
yeah,
These are all design-centric companies, very
yeah,
fundamentally built on design. So I don't see it as an offbeat profession anymore. It's like very
yeah,
mainstream. It goes
yeah,
into everything we do, including if you look at Anthropic and the way
yeah, yeah,
they are in design into it. So I feel like it's the industry should look professional. The industry doesn't look professional enough just
yeah.
yet.
You spoke about
There's a
Anthropic. What are your views on AI? Do you think it's killing our industry, or do you think it's just a support tool that we can use to make our work better?
I mean, I think that I don't think it's killing our industry. I think it's enabling us to do stuff faster, better,
Yeah, yeah,
and be more iterative in our approach.
yeah,
Um, I mean, from paper to computers itself is controversy. So, I
yeah,
mean,
I agree.
everything that happens in the industry becomes controversial.
Right.
Like, I mean, it's how best you use it and how
Yeah,
best you apply yourself onto it. I mean, it's in keeping with the times as well. So I don't see it as a big inhibitor. I think whenever new technology came into the world
mm,
and revolutionized something, people had apprehensions about it.
yes,
So people have had apprehensions about trains when they were launched,
yeah,
telephones when they were launched,
yeah,
uh, computers when they were launched. So again, AI. So also, I mean, there will be slowly as the industry evolves, there will be ethical practices brought into
yeah,
place. Now it's at a very nascent stage.
of
Like
course, yeah,
as the industry evolves, people will apply some guidelines to it,
mm,
and
mm,
there will be methods in which you can mitigate risk.
mm,
Like so there will be ethical practices. So it's change basically, and change makes everything uncomfortable all the
yeah.
time and makes you push.
So
It's not so easy to change. Yeah.
I actually had a question a few steps back. I wanted to understand, since everything design has worked with industries that many creative agencies or designers uh, you only aspire to work with, right? You guys have worked with defense, you guys have worked with legal. Uh, when you talk about these industries, I mean, when you talk about the people delivering for these industries, in this case, you and your co-founder, I'm sure like a lot of these industries are new to you as well. So, what does it take to kind of jump into these industries to deliver for these companies, right? Do you go through an entire reset and understand what the industry requires, what the brand is, spend a lot of time researching, or how does that process kind of come to you organically?
Yeah. So see, a lot of our time in principle goes in understanding in the beginning of a project on the industry itself. So
Yeah.
we not give any solution unless we have a thorough understanding of the industry. It's a lot of upskilling and learning.
Okay.
We take a lot of time from clients to do it as well. Like we ask for multiple calls, and we sit through product demos.
Yeah.
We don't start the design piece until we know what the industry does.
Okay.
We do the client might give us some market research as well from their end, but
Yeah.
we will do our study as well from a design standpoint. We will do global benchmarking as well as Indian benchmarking, all of that.
Yeah.
So it's every time we do a new project, it's a lot of learning about that industry, and we are happy to do it. Like
Hmm.
we want to engage in a way where we have a complete understanding of what the client does,
Yeah.
and then we give them a solution. It's a lot of work in the beginning. People don't understand why it should take like a month and a half sometimes.
Yeah.
But that's something that we explain to clients at the outset of it. And now we have enough proof of work to show them why
Mm,
we did it.
mm,
So we now have enough, we have enough documentation of our workshops that we've done with clients or the
mm,
process that we go through to tell them that, hey, this is needed for this work. If you really want us to provide value, then we
yeah.
got to understand the way you work and the way what your product does, all of that.
Right.
It's just been part of our process now. So
Okay.
I think it's necessary for our industry, especially in the B2B space. But
Yeah.
I think it's necessary in any market in any case. Like even in a D2C market, you should not be giving solution without completely
Of
understanding
course. Yeah.
or research and deep diving into things. So
Right.
which is the learning curve with every project. And
Yeah.
clients are now quite happy to do it.
No, of
with
course.
that.
I think they also, it would be great to kind of educate your partners who you're bringing to the table.
Right.
Otherwise, you're
Also,
just entering it blindly.
yeah, so a lot of like on our sales calls sometimes, like when we are trying to sell our services to somebody, um, a lot of things that have worked for us is also things that clients have pointed out. Like you didn't ask us any questions on the exact deliverables. You wanted to understand our product first.
Yeah.
So that's something that tells them that we are interested in understanding what you do,
Right.
how you do it, the problem you're solving for. Then we'll go down to the brass tacks of, okay, we'll do a website for you or a film for you or
Right.
this thing. It's not about the delivery list. It's
Yeah.
not a list. It's like, how can we solve for this?
Right.
So something that has, it also kind of filters out clients for us. Like a client who's not willing to give us that information or doesn't understand that methodology automatically will not sign up with us.
Right.
So it works both ways. It works
So-
for us, it works for the client as well.
One question on those lines is that while you go through your research and while you break down the entire brand, you understand, you draw some sort of interpretation of how the branding should be, right? After you get into the design stage. What if that vision that you have for the brand is different from what, say, the CXO or the CEO has in their head? How do you go about then convincing them that, okay, this is drawn from our understanding of your brand, our vision for your brand, and this is what we think will work versus what you have in mind?
So firstly, the process works in a way where at every so we've had this problem earlier and we've formed processes that mitigate this risk.
Okay.
So basically firstly, it's never done in silos. We always workshop things every step of the way. So we spend a lot of time in the beginning understanding the product and what is required in a workshop, then do a synthesis of the workshop, then sort of get the client to give a heads up on the synthesis.
Yeah.
So that's one check. So at different stages in the project, we have put in processes into place, which are checkpoints.
Okay.
Which are to ensure that our alignment with the client is always there.
Okay.
Right. So there's a checkpoint in the beginning, then there's a checkpoint at the visual stage, there's a checkpoint at the if you're doing a website, there's a checkpoint at the homepage stage. So there are different checkpoints that we've put into place.
Yeah.
This is based on the experiences that we've had in the past, where like sometimes things have bombed on us because we thought a different way and somebody else thought a different way. We also insist sometimes that the leadership team be there in the beginning of the project. So we will not do a meeting if the leadership is not there, for example. Like we need the leadership in the meeting right in the beginning, so that we are aligned, so that we are not wasting everyone's time.
Right.
So basically running the project the way we think is the right way to run it.
Right.
So our project management is pretty strong. When we run the project, we are driving it. We are okay. We need so and so in the meeting. We need a heads up on this. Can you please give us a heads up? So we are driving the process.
Okay.
And hence ensuring the fact that at every stage where we thought was risky is being taken care of.
Okay.
Even then things can go wrong.
Yeah.
Like times when things can go wrong. Recently did a presentation for a company who's coming up with a nuclear reactor. It's like a crazy space to be. Like it's very offbeat.
Yeah.
This second project we're doing in this space, but the intensity with which we're doing the second project is way more than the first one.
Yeah.
So and of course, in the beginning, when we proposed something, the client was a little bit uncomfortable about it. Like they were like, we've never seen anything like this before.
Yeah.
We work in a portfolio very soon. So the client was like, we've never seen anything like this before. So then I had to do a lot of educating the client. No, it happens like this. This is what makes sense. This is what you're reacting to is a personal preference. You're not reacting from the market standpoint.
Yeah.
And not just me or my co-founder do this. A lot of my team is wired to do this.
Okay.
A lot of the time, team now knows, because they've watched this in the process. They now know what are the questions that they can. When should they retort? When should they not retort?
Yeah.
So it's a very fine line, and as you practice this more and more, it becomes better.
Okay.
Like there are some things that the client might point out which are valid,
Hmm.
and you need to integrate it. Like maybe you didn't understand the industry, so you kind of keep that. But then there are times when they are not seeing what you're seeing.
Yeah.
So then you have to help them see that. So you're basically giving like a facilitator in a process where you're facilitating this entire scenario for the success of yourself and for the client.
Yeah.
So there's both ways, because if the client doesn't win, you don't win. So in effect, both have to win. So you become facilitator of this entire process, and of course the checkpoints and all of that really helps. So that's something you put into practice quite actively.
So someone building a nuclear reactor, how do you come about working with these kind of clients?
Yeah, so we did it, especially in me, because I was never inclined to science, right?
Yeah.
From always on the art side of things. Of course, taking science in school has helped. So at least the fundamentals don't need to be explained, but it's a lot of reading and upskilling basically.
Yeah.
So, and asking stupid questions as well. Like, sometimes like what seems fundamental to the client, right? Like they would naturally think that you should know this, you may not know.
Yeah.
So asking those really like basic questions as well, and doing your own reading and upskilling on what the company does, why does it do it, what does the marketscape look like. So it was tricky. It was tricky. We
But
had
how
to
do
read some
you get this client in your ecosystem? How do they come finding everything design? Yeah.
So there are various channels. One is we have a decent name in the market for B2B. For B2B, especially for B2B, because like big companies, their main concern every time is that, will this company understand me or not? Because they're worried, like every design companies may not get it, but now that they know that there is this company who does a lot of work in the B2B space, at least they got a hang of it. That's something that the clients are looking out for. So, for example, in the cybersecurity space, we've done tons of work.
Okay.
So we've done, I think, six projects, 6 to 7 projects in the cybersecurity space.
Okay.
So we have a vast portfolio of cybersecurity.
Okay.
Really vast. And hence when clients see, they look out for cybersecurity work in the, we're looking for branding agencies in cybersecurity space. We might be naturally the first people that comes to their mind.
Okay.
Right? Because we've also packaged all of that work. Like we put enough content out there on the process it went. Each project it's not a templatized solution. Each project you see looks very different from the other. The value props, the entire like the entire thing is very different for each project. So it was a custom solution for each one of those companies. They were also companies at different stages. Like some were a startup, one was a legacy company. So they were all at different stages. So keep all of that in mind. Like the natural inclination is to find a client like that. Like that, part of several communities where our work is being circulated. Our website is a good place to get a lot of traction, because we have a lot of articles and a lot of content around the work that we do. We write blogs about it. We are constantly packaging and putting our work out there, and this is not just individually me or my co-founder. It's also the team. Like in our team, everyone is we don't have any hard and fast policies or anything. Everyone is putting work out there about what they created, how they created it, what the client said. So everyone, so overall we are on different channels, and it's all organic again. None of it is paid channels that we're doing right now. It's basically so somebody would recommend you. So that's one way of getting a project. So like there are several channels that we've opened up. We've still not done very effective outbound marketing. We are not great at it. Like reaching out to people and asking them to sign up with us. We don't do it very effectively. Like we've had successes as well, but we haven't done it crazily effectively. So it's so that's where we are in terms of getting the project. Sometimes we don't know how they got to know about us. Like, we don't know. Sometimes it's a mystery, but a lot of times it's via recommendation, via visibility of work, via our website, and a lot of the content that they might have seen about us. So yeah, so those are the various channels.
And
So
lastly,
far,
yeah, sorry,
yeah,
you were
yeah.
saying.
So far, so
Yeah,
good.
yeah, yeah. Touch wood, touch wood. I hope this continues. But lastly, the last question I had is, what is your creative confession?
Creative confession. Okay, so my creative confession would be like sometimes I'm dying to do the design piece,
Yeah,
and I I can see a project that I'm dying to work on, and I know the team is super excited about it, and I'm dying to do my version
yeah,
of it.
yeah.
But I have often now learned to let go of it.
Okay.
Like, okay, so so because at the heart of art, I was a visual designer. So
Yeah,
sometimes I'm dying to
yeah,
craft a logo, dying
yeah,
to see. Sometimes I do it, yes,
yeah.
but it is only if the team is kind of comfortable with it. Like
Of
if they
course.
need help, I
Yeah,
will do it. But otherwise, I have kind of, it was a very hard place because
yeah,
uh, that creative side of things is still somewhere there.
yeah,
So I'm like, I should not do it. I have to tell myself not to do it.
yeah,
So yeah, so that is a very tough one for me because it's taken me a very long time
yeah,
to um, even start letting go of things. Just the beginnings of it, I would call it. Like today, I would say that I have become thick-skinned and
yeah,
I, I'm able to let go of some things, not everything that.
yeah,
Yeah. So that's the control freak nature of a designer,
yeah.
which is hard to let go of. So,
No,
so yeah.
I get that. I
But see,
completely relate to that.
so you kind of have to, so of course, then that leads to imposter syndrome. It leads to questioning yourself. It leads
Yeah,
to saying, good enough, or was this just luck? Or, like a lot of different things.
yeah,
A lot of different things, self-questioning, being tired,
yeah.
all of those things. So it's not an easy path. I think it's easier to be a designer, like a kick-ass
Of
designer in
course.
a
Yeah,
company, and really do the work that you love.
yeah,
And the entrepreneurial part looks great on the outside of it, but it's really exhausting. Like
yeah,
it's
yeah,
super exhausting. So that's the part which I have kind of made peace with. Um, I'm still working on it. I mean, I would say I'm still working on
yeah.
it.
I think it's a long way because from realizing it to acceptance is a very different journey. It takes a long time because even I'm in that journey, and I'm like, because even I was a practicing designer, and then, as I said, like, you get stuck into operations, and then you don't get a chance to do that on a daily basis. There are times, as just like how you feel like on projects, where I'm like, oh, I need to be on this, but then you can't. So yeah,
Yeah,
I completely relate to it. But thank
yeah.
you
So
so
I
much.
think
Yeah,
this is a full struggle and one has to make peace with it.
yeah, I guess
Yeah,
so. But thank you
yeah.
so much for taking out the time. It was an absolute pleasure talking to you. And yeah, I will put this out probably in the next 1 week, because it will take some time to edit. And
Sure.
I'll let you know once it's out. I would request if you can please share it within your network, share it within your ecosystem, and yeah, the more eyeballs it gets, it's going to be better for the creative industry at the end of the day.
Right. Thank you so much. Thanks
Thank
for
you.
doing this all.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you. Have a good day.